no update, just following up on, potential quotes for the equipment after the holidays now, now back to try and catch up with them.
Okay. All right, Booth Lake Memorial Park report, Vale.
As far as, the winter goes, unfortunately, we don't have any frost, so, I think they're posting on, if it's not already on the website, they're posting is that we're not able to get them up this year because if you don't have the frost underneath, the ice doesn't stay, the ice can float, and for the amount of water that we would need to use to fill those, at this point of the season, it seems that it really wouldn't be worth a while, so unfortunately, maybe next year, we can get cold weather sooner.
Their only option would have been what, hand shovel the snow out without ensuring what's underneath it and then
Well,
freeze.
yeah, but I mean, as far as frost goes, I just shoveled out for my dog and I had mud on my feet, the grass pool, that's all.
Yeah, yeah.
It would take quite a while to get enough frost, I think, to make it worthwhile. It's a little disappointing, but, Mother Nature is what it is.
Let's sled around with all this.
Okay, Lakeview, management issue reports, Greg Thomas.
Lakeview Management District met on December 9th, 2023, here at the Town Hall. In regards to the Lakeview Hotel, the district voted to continue legal representation in regards to any future meeting of the Walworth County Zoning Agency in regards to the hotel. And this is maintaining our relationship with Hop, Newman, and Humke, and our attorney, Michael Howard. In regards to the dredging at W1905 Itzello Road, the environmental attorney Buck Sweeting has been hired by the management district to represent the district during the Wisconsin DNR public hearing regarding the dredging along the shoreline. And a preliminary meeting has already taken place between the management district commissioner and attorney Sweeting to review the conditions of the project. That's the report.
Thank you very much. All right,
Mr. Murphy did call today and there is no second report in the budget.
okay, the reports. All right, planning commission report, Supervisor Wicker.
There's no action to be taken by the town board. We did take care of business at our last monthly meeting. I did want the board to know that with Chairman Cook and Commissioner Smith, we are looking at documents to help better define our role and the county's role when residents come for action. Just because it's forever blurred as to who comes first, the town, the county, and what are the roles and obligations. So I think the communication with the county is much improved, and the documentation is also likewise improved. We're looking at publicly available documents to help facilitate the discussion of the client when they come to Jen seeking direction.
At our next Walworth County Unit of Towns Association meeting in March 14th, we are going to have the speaker from the zoning department, because the question you just raised, other towns mentioned the same thing. So, okay, very good. All right, unfinished business. Discussion regarding Dallas School Road speed limit and authorize attorney to amend ordinance if needed. What we did last month, we had a discussion about the pros and cons of doing that, as Mrs. Dess mentioned. By the mere fact that Dell School Road now is listed as a rustic road, the town has the authority, without DOT permission, so to speak, to lower that to 15 miles per hour. So, yes, every road in the town started at 55. Almost all of them got lowered to 45, just because there's really no roads that are designed for 55 miles per hour. And then we have all sorts of 25s and 35s, and you got a 15 down by the lake. And, this is under a different set of rules. This one here, just by the nature of it being a rusted road, we have the authority to do this, so it's our decision. We did ask, to get further information from the chief on the speed study that he did, and it's showing 41 miles per hour in that area, which by just that fact, there's not a speed problem there, so to speak. But again, it's our point of fact here to discuss it, pros and cons. We heard, I think probably, from your constituents, you got calls similar to what Mr. Ray said is, well, geez, do we have to lower every road, No, we look at them case by case. This is a specific one. So, I'll open up the discussion. Does the speed study that was shown help with the decision-making process on this or not? So, Bill, why don't you start at the far end? You got any comments on this?
The comments I would make is that I'm surprised people are actually driving, less than the posted speed limit, at 41 and 42 miles an hour on average. But I personally am swayed by the fact that the residents, to a person, have asked for the reduction in the speed limit. I'm for one and not prone to lower speed limits, but in this case, the people that are gonna ride that road every day, twice, 3, 4 times a day, are asking for a slower speed limit. And I, for one, would vote to grant that.
Barb?
I told you I drive it slower. I think with things that people might divert their days from, would make it a safer trip if it's a little bit slower. I understand all the roads in the town do not need to be loaded. But I agree that perhaps the residents have requested it, and a majority of the residents who live on the road, who want to travel that road, want it lowered. So I will vote inside.
Mr. Zeski, what are the numbers on the signatures?
I think 95% of the residents want the speed limit lowered.
52 out of 55, something like that?
I'm thinking 26 out of 28 residents want it lowered.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, again, I think the average speed, 41, shows that there's not a big concern until you look at the maximum speeds. There are some pretty crazy high maximum speeds that are seen there, which I don't know if they'll ever be able to stop that, right? So we're always gonna have speeders, things like that. It is a majority of the residents, so I could be swayed either way. I think we had a similar situation though, I don't remember which road by the lake where they wanted it like down to 15 or the speed bumps, right?
The speed bumps on
One of the
Fairway.
speed bumps,
Oh,
and they said no, as far as a safety issue, things like that. We suggested fines instead. So I do feel like it's a country road, that there's minimal distractions, on the end of the year, or maybe the turkeys. There's not a lot of driveways, but,
I thought my phone was on silent.
My phone is on silence.
I think I've kind of spoken how I feel on it. We've also had, an entire road, like Michelle had just said, about speed bumps and slowing it down. It's pretty rural, we wanna keep it rural. I'm not as I said, I'd like to take my road down to 10, but, and I think it's a tighter, smaller road for being 25, but I think that people have to use their judgment, and I think that the road out there there's a lot of it. I know it's just a part of the Rustic Road, but I'm not convinced that it needs to be slowed down, especially if we're looking at our speed studies. Even when we had 20,000 cars come through there in a few weeks, the average speed is 42 miles an hour, and I believe that this could start to become an issue more and more in our community. And I know you're taking it from base to base, wherever their situation is, but signage, you know, for this road down here, it's the speed bumps. There was a petition signed for everybody on that road. Come to find out, there really wasn't anybody speeding on that road either, as far as an average, I think we had the sign up there for a little bit, but I don't think it's necessary for that particular road myself, but, and we're
How do we
changing the
think
signage.
35, maybe 40 or, what they're going for.
Well, they're
Doesn't
doing
make a
42,
difference.
so, I mean, that's our average speed, you know, and that was, well, it's 41 with 3,000 people, which would be more of a regular, you know, probably people living on the road, that's 20,000 people. If we were having more of an issue, or that speed, that average speed was way up there, you know, maybe a consideration, but, you know, I mean, it's been like that for a long time, I'm glad it's a rustic road, I think, but I don't think it's necessary to change the speed, I'm not really a fan of doing that for.
Okay. Well, and again, I understand that part too, and I kind of think the same way, is, you know, where you draw the line. What made a difference on this one is it is now designated a rustic road, I believe it's number 126, I don't think we have the signs up yet. But that gives us the direct authority to do it without, you know, going through a full-blown study, very expensive study, and then have the DOT fine tooth it, and then say no anyway. Because the warrants, they'll look at the, you know, driveway spacing and all that, sight lines, don't warrant it, it doesn't. I will say that if you're driving there where you have the hill by the Henningfield Farm, it probably wouldn't hurt to have a sign there from both directions saying, you know, caution crossing farm equipment, because they do cross the road there. And the other part is, the 3/4 mile section, from Stone School, to, Gilbert Mill is narrower in there, yes, I
Yes.
think we're gonna pay it, but to me, that one should be lowered.
I would agree with that.
And when, I was looking at it last time, that one got closer to meeting the warrants, it didn't meet it totally. But just by its narrowness and, you know, it's a cowpath type road, and if it's a rustic road, you're gonna have maybe some leaf watchers in there. Even if we don't raise or lower the limit on the whole thing, I would think for sure we'd want to do it, on that section of it, 3/4 of a mile. That accident there, by the way, had nothing to do with speed limit there, that guy just moved through there, and changed or whatever. So, like I said, the warrants don't call for it. I remember when Ken went around with this stuff, he talked to all these people, and, I don't know if all of them felt that way, but Ken said, hey, I don't even want it to be a rustic road if the speed limit doesn't come with it. You said that, right? And I believe that's what you still think. I mean, like I said, it's a rustic road, that changes everything for me. The time difference, going 45 miles per hour versus 35 miles per hour is under 4 minutes, okay? Not substantial, but if you drive it twice a day, every day, you know, it's getting to be substantial. But by the, you know, how many people? We're saying there's 226 a day. Is that enough to think, to change it? Probably not. So, I don't know, we need a motion.
I don't think the rustic road application was, unanimous, right?
That was, everybody I contacted yet wanted that down.
Oh, no, I mean, like, the
At the
hearing
state
at the
council.
state.
No, at the state level, it was not unanimous, no.
So there was.
And they keep up that.
Yes, they have two independent members who look at it, they give their presentation, and the board voted on it. And the board voted 4-2 to approve it.
I think the photos help that went with the application.
That's the narrative too, because there are some unique things there. It's not your classic rustic road.
We will be getting more pedestrians, bicyclists on that road because it is a rustic road. There's groups of people, that's all they do.
That's
Go
true.
around the state and
They drive them.
drive, walk.
Yep.
Bicycle, they have badges you can get from the state of Wisconsin if you do so many rustic roads.
And you have wildlife on that road, I know I've seen deer cross in front of me on that road, and turkey.
I have wildlife on my road too.
I don't know.
Todd said he saw the biggest buck ever in the biggest backyard, but.
I don't know, we cheated a little bit, I think we included your Bell School house, and that was on the
Yeah.
other side of 20, so.
But Yeah, it will be there, the picture in the brochure that's printed.
Yeah.
Even though you're not actually a part of the Rustic Road.
But it's a big part of it, right,
That's the name.
yes.
All right,
Just because we can doesn't mean we should, necessarily. I'm understanding that very narrow area that you're talking about. But if another car's coming, they're not doing 45 anyway, cause you cannot.
You cannot.
You know, it's similar to, I keep saying my road, but there's so many roads around the lake that are so narrow that when there's another car, that you can't do that speed. Like, you're already gonna slow each other down, you know, pedestrians. And the other thing, I was towards maybe doing this because I thought that was the norm on rustic roads, but I also did, last month, we said 45 is pretty much,
Yes.
that's the standard for a rustic road, you know, so just because we can, I don't necessarily think, well, that we should, and
There's some surrounding ones,
Mhm.
that are 45, just
the majority
off
of, that I was understood last
Going
month.
in Rochester, yeah.
okay,
Well, I reminded the board last month, just because something comes in by petition, doesn't mean you have to act
Yep, I
on it.
remember that.
And we just had that, gentleman in the subdivision off of J, I believe, come in with a petition for a reduction in speed. And
you want to be sure with the
Fairway, it was Fairway.
fairway, right, the sharp road?
yeah, and that, the board didn't approve that.
Okay, any other, before I get to the comments? Barbara?
Chief, I have a question. When you've got when you've gotta slow down in the middle of, let's say, it's 45 and then it drops to 35, what are, compliance wise, are there a lot of people that comply with that? Or are they more apt to stay at the higher speed regardless? I know that, like, when I drive from Waukesha off of 164 and I come through that small section where it drops to 35, I often feel like I'm the only one doing 35.
Yeah, that situation is Highway J, in our township already. It starts out at 35, coming off from ES, goes to 45, drops back down to 35, and then goes back up to 55. So, compliance, there is, just like the speed sign shows, majority of people comply.
Okay.
The other day, 72 and a 35, not so much compliance when I stopped. So, it's all over the
I guess
place.
it's any given day.
And the only caveat that I will say, in my 25 years, 30 years of law enforcement, inevitably, whenever people ask for us to sit in their driveway or to reduce the speed limit, the first people we're writing tickets to are the people on the road. And they are the most teed off that you were out there and that you wrote their husband, wife, mother, brother, sister, whatever, family member, a speeding ticket after they've asked you to be out on the road or they've asked for the speed limit to be lowered. That is the only public comment I'm gonna say is, be careful what you wish for.
All right, Barb, you have one more comment?
I'm
You're done?
Are, when you're compliance, were you referring to like if we do just the section 35? from
Yeah, I
certain schools
just
in Hillsborough?
wondered if it would be more consistent to do 35 all the way instead of 40, 45, and then 35.
I think because that's an intersection, you
And
know,
it's
you
not-
slow down at the, like, even if you continue through and don't turn on so if you're coming from 20, I think you naturally slow down at that intersection, cause it's a little bit of a hill,
Majority.
and then it's a narrower
Yeah,
road, so
majority
you slow
people-
down.
People driving do, and that's like, just, you know, the gentleman did what, 70 something to 35, is think it would have stopped him if we changed it to 25? Probably not, you know, like, people are gonna speed, unfortunately.
Just a little help from Jim on this, potential motion to reduce the speed limit to 35 miles an hour. Would it be for, Bell School Road, or would it be for Wisconsin Rustic Road 126?
I would probably reference Cove.
But
It-
it's
it-
not all of Bell School Road either.
Right, so we would need a new ordinance. We would have to define in the ordinance which sections of the road the speed is being lowered on. And then before it officially takes effect, the signs have to be posted.
It don't have to be flagged that we lowered it.
Probably the first time put up, we normally flag them for a while, year or two, till the flags, don't have any more color left in them.
But that's all we don't have to post anything, I mean, we could put it on the website now, right?
Well, Kim will put any new ordinance, there's a blurb in the paper.
Because it's an ordinance gonna be paper. Cause you're gonna, potentially focus on it. Alright, I think we're ready for somebody to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that, the board, vote to amend the ordinance for the speed limit on Bell School Road, now also known as, rural rustic road 126, from 45 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour.
Alright, we have a second,
I'll second.
alright, second, discussion. Alright, let's do a roll call vote, starting with you, Bill.
Yes.
Church, I.
France name,
Wales name.
Barkowski, me. I'll make a motion that we lower the speed limit from Stone School Road to Carter School, or,
Kilburn.
Hilburn Mill Road. It's a 3/4 mile stretch that certainly should be done. I could support that really easily, so.
So you're not talking about the narrow area on Bell
Yeah.
School, you're talking about by the airport.
No.
No, it is still Bell School.
I'll show you.
Oh, at the intersection.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Hilbert.
Bell School Road,
Okay.
continues past Stone
I
School
was
Road,
thinking different area.
it's like, it's 3/4 of a mile.
Okay.
Alright, so the motion was defeated to lower the whole works. But I made a motion to lower the speed limit to 35 on Rustic Road, 126 between Stone School Road and
Kilburn.
Hilburn.
Hill Road, that's my motion.
I'll second.
Michelle, second. Discussion.
I think traffic, if it's impeding, is slowing itself down, because of the size of the road anyway. I don't, if nobody's on that road.
I think we're paving the next year too.
I mean,
Not on
and,
traffic.
and, I mean, nobody's on that, lack of traffic and nobody's on the road, I don't know that it warrants for a reduction in speed, and that's just my opinion.
Any other discussion on that?
I think safety with the, and, I know that the hunting fields there use it as a.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably bring that up at a future meeting to have us to authorize, Todd to put, caution signs there with farm equipment crossing of the tractor. That should probably be there. Yes.
Can I speak?
Yes, please.
Would you consider putting stop signs at Stone School and Bell School?
That'll be a separate question, and I'm not ready to answer.
Okay,
You know, right now, it's a stop sign going southbound
only.
only, right? And obviously, if you're going westbound there, you see the,
And you could put a right turn, no stop, and that would be fine going onto Stone School Road from the west. But I'm sure Mr. Peterson at the corner would highly appreciate that move.
I think a three-way stop at that intersection would be great.
all right,
I like the right turn also.
all right, again, separate issue, so we have a motion and a second, we'll do a roll call vote on that, it's lower speed limit on the 3/4 mile section. So, Barkowski, aye.
Wales, no.
Ray's eye.
Church, I.
Booker, yes.
Alright, so motion carried, so we'll do that, and Todd's not here, so he can answer the question. The signs for that rustic road are to be provided by the State Department of
Yes.
Transportation, and even though it says the county installs it, I'm sure the county's gonna call Todd and say, hey, just put them up, but that shouldn't be an issue here. We cannot do that ordinance though, or not approve it until it's signed, but we haven't authorized Jimmy to do it either, so we, again, it says here, cost to authorize Jimmy to do that. So we need a motion to, authorize Jimmy Rose to amend that ordinance. discussion on the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, discussion on checklist for town hall usage. That is what you came up with, is in the packet. I think it's pretty straightforward.
This is just a draft.
It's a draft, anybody have comments?
Nothing's concrete, just discussion.
Have you looked at all into, there's questions of payment, like with the credit card
Also
holder,
a
or check,
discuss-
or is that?
Also up for discussion.
Sure.
We don't even have to have a payment or whatever. We just want some accountability so that people, just like when you leave your house, you lock the door and you turn off the lights. That's all we're asking for. And that's why the checklist is here.
And the $25 deposit, if say Lake Beulah Management District gives us a check for $25, we can hold that for the entire year until such time as something were to happen or not happen and give it back to them. Or they give us $25 in cash and we keep it until after, Sanitary District 2 has their meeting, what have you. It doesn't mean that, we're not looking to make money, we're just looking for some accountability and responsibility on just basically, like right now, everybody takes their stuff, the meeting room is fine. It's not that big a deal, so to speak. I mean,
How
And when-
often do you run into issues?
half a dozen, I would say,
Over?
over,
Well, the
over the
biggest,
time since I've been here.
yeah, and the biggest thing, of course, is the security that people haven't, cause the police officer will leave the door locked, but propped open with the bucket, and the last person out doesn't move the bucket, and leaves the building open all night. Come on, people.
Or this back door, someone goes out that door and they don't make sure that when they go outside, it doesn't pull open again, for instance.
So maybe we can try distant reminders about security.
Well, that's where this is just a
That's
simple
what this
checklist.
is.
Yeah.
It's like, don't forget to do this stuff. Put somebody in charge of it after a meeting and go, hey, go through the list.
I don't think it's a big handicap for anybody, I think it's simple enough, straightforward enough, the kids almost, no time, there's not a charge for it other than deposit, so there's not a charge for it. So I think it's a good thing, we should.
Well,
Do we need?
I'm sorry, do you think you need, and I understand the deposit and your accountability and all that, but what if we just have a checklist and every meeting that is here in group, they have to sign this checklist, or somebody signs a checklist when it's not done?
They don't get to use the room anymore.
Well, or your bill, or your, you know what I'm saying?
Because of-
But
because of-
wouldn't it-
because of-
wouldn't it
So
be
you
more
don't have to hold a
efficient to-
check, or you don't have to, maybe some organizations are gonna just have it one time, or,
Right, and then
You
how are you
know-
gonna get the money out of them?
well, someone's
Yeah.
putting their name and number down, and, if it's happened half a dozen times, and I'm all with you on accountability, I'm completely agreeing, but maybe to make things a little bit easier is, you sign here and you're responsible, if things aren't put back together, but here's a checklist, just make sure it's done.
But if we have 5 groups that historically use this building, and Dean has a envelope on her desk with 4 names and $100, it's there, it's done once, and it's only needed, they have to replenish it if, hey, you didn't use whatever. I don't think it's a big deal, I think it should happen though, because accountability is real, it's not, you can always say, yeah, we agree to do it, well, yeah, but there's gotta be something there that says,
And it's everybody's building. So if some group uses it, it belongs to all of us. So it's like somebody gotta accept some responsibility and lock the door, turn off the. Make sure
And
it's not
in
garbage.
fairness, I understand like billing after the fact, but honestly, the half a dozen groups that use the building on a regular basis, January 1, they give us a $25 deposit, they get it back at the end of the year, or they just continue to recycle that money. Would be a lot more efficient than sending an invoice, and going, okay, this wasn't done, having to go back to the camera to justify why we're doing the invoice. We're not looking to stick, okay, if I come in here and there's a water bottle sitting on the table, okay, if there's 8 water bottles sitting around the room in a variety of places,
Garbage is overflowing with, you
You
had
know.
snacks and coffee and didn't take it up, yeah, I can see doors.
You know.
I mean, we did have, granted, it was years ago, but we did have a group that decided to dump their coffee grounds into our bubbler, and we no longer have a bubbler because they wrecked it. Now, a $25 deposit is not gonna replace a bubbler, but they're should have been some accountability, and there was none.
So what if, like, yeah, I guess, really, we're thinking the $25 is just a deposit, really, how is that really gonna benefit us? Or, you know, if they turn over $25, like you said, Billy, what are we gonna do with that? So what if we take a phased approach, and we start with the checklist and people signing, and we revisit it in 6 months, you know, that they're signing their name, are they feeling accountable? And that was enough to fix it.
It's possible.
So would we ask each organization to provide someone that's going to be responsible, or are they gonna have to come to us every month?
I would think whoever
They can
calls
make a
us,
copy, you know, they can
whoever
make a
calls
copy
us
for
to
everybody.
reserve the room should be the person responsible.
I emailed you for the checklist for Saturday's
Yep.
meeting.
You call it voluntold, you know,
Yep.
here's, okay, then here's the checklist and, you
Yep.
know.
And maybe if we do it for a while and we find it becoming a problem, we revisit having a deposit.
Right.
And at that point, because I think that most of the groups know now that this is something we're looking at, this is something we're reviewing, it's concerning. And maybe now just having this conversation will keep it in the forefront of the organization's minds.
Having to
And-
sign and turn it in
Yeah.
every time, you're gonna remember, okay, that person's gonna be the last one out. And, yeah, I think just a reminder, and then I'll just maybe send you some edits to
And
shorten the
we
lane.
know who our contact people are.
Right, and I can send them a copy. Can anybody think of something additional for the checklist, or something that you feel should be removed or added? So that we can have at least as comprehensive as we can think of. You can shoot me an email, and I can edit it, and then we can forward it out to the different organizations representative that reaches out to schedule meetings.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
do
we
it,
can
let's do
notify
it.
people. And,
Let's do it that way. Everybody, if you have any comments, within the next week, you know, get to Gene, say, you know, you got maybe some language changes.
Yeah.
And we'll try it. To me, we have to do something now, which means, yeah, starting now, it sounds like you already could be starting.
And
So,
what, I mean, the DPW has done a nice job with painting, with upgrading the room. So it's like, we just wanna keep it nice for everybody.
Okay, I think we're good. Joe, you got a question?
There's one issue, we're on the Potter's Lake Board, and we come here often, and the door isn't open. And so with some accountability, it would be nice to have similar accountability to have the door open. And I don't know why we have a card reader, if you can't say Bob has a card reader card that's valid from 2 to 4 PM on Saturday. Can't we do that
That
stuff?
system is not integrated in here, but we can check that, because
Oh.
when we did it, there was other questions saying, hey, give me a key before we had that, give me a key. And we said, no, we don't do
no
that.
keys, no.
Right, but if we can program something that way, we'll look at
A
that.
punch code access like a realtor.
Or we, yeah, yes.
With regard to the building not being open, every representative that calls and schedules a meeting, I have given them my personal cell phone number. I am 10 minutes away. I have received 2 phone calls saying, hey, Gene, the meeting room, because they know that if the police aren't here, the door doesn't get open. I've gotten 2 phone calls. I have come over and opened the building. And the other one, an officer came back just in time. So,
And we're full staff now, so that, one of those was, we were short staffed. I think.
well, if they're out on a call,
Sure.
you know, they can't be here. They can't prop the door open when they leave for a call at 4:30 for a welfare check where they might find a dead body and be there for hours and have the door propped open for hours. So that happens. But I have given every organization my personal cell phone number that, hey, if you get there and the door's not open, give me a call, I'm 10 minutes away. Everybody can wait 10 minutes. Barb has said she would. So I haven't gotten those calls except for 2. And I believe Lake Beulah Management District called me one time, and I can't remember, there were 2 meetings scheduled one night.
Bob called me one time,
And
but then it was
they
fine.
couldn't get into the courtroom because the officer didn't have a key for that, it was a new part-time officer. And I came and got him into the courtroom for the 2 meetings that were happening that evening. So that's gonna happen. We can look into, the logistics and the pros and cons of giving out a key fob, checking one out for a certain limited time. I believe that is something that we're able to do do, but I believe that there were some underlying reasons when this system was implemented that we did not give fobs to all the organizations. So that's
Well,
something we have
limits,
to,
yeah,
we have to
access.
talk to that.
Yeah, and we have to see if we can limit, like you said, just a time frame.
Well, and the fob opens the front door, opens the office door, that ain't gonna happen. So, and then, can't happen.
Right.
Well, I'm pretty close.
Okay, let's move on. Discussion on a new business, discussion possible action on moving the February meeting to a different date. I believe, you both have conflicts, Jody, you want to share? So the 12th is not working. Correct?
Correct.
All right. And normally we don't move it up, we would move it back, so that would make it the 19th. Question is, does that interfere with anybody else's?
The 19th is the night before the spring primary. So the meeting room will be set up for the primary.
But it only affects 12 properties.
You still have to set it up, have the
Right.
polling chairs all moved. Yeah, this can't happen, cause all the speakers would be gone,
Yeah.
Yeah. all the mic
Can you not have a
system, I
meeting?
mean.
Courthouse?
Can we do it on the 12th?
We could do it on the 5th, but we wouldn't have a treasurer's report,
We just asked you
or we could do it on the
to tell us what
26th.
items you
26th is
wanted
getting-
discussed and-
Well, no,
What's wrong with the 19th?
it's the
The
day
day
before.
before the
spring
primary.
So she can have this set.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought, sorry, I was
No.
looking for 12.
And we did put everything, I'm sorry, we did put everything, our discussion on these ordinances and stuff until February, and
Right.
I'd much rather be here in person to.
Well, then why would we move down to?
Well, because we keep moving them, we still have to have readings, and
Yeah.
I know it's my own fault, but I won't be here after the April, and if you have to have 2 readings, I don't believe that would be enough time. You did it in March,
Well, like we said,
approved it, or
there's
no
no,
ordinance and then all the readings, right? We need at least two or three.
Well, I don't think there's a rush on either one of these.
there's no rushing in.
No, I'm just saying if we can have a discussion about it and vote on it, that's what we were talking about.
Move it to
That's
March.
why I would rather be here, because that's gonna be a discussion.
And you had mentioned that the 5th, the only difference would be we have no reports. Is there any
Yeah,
other
we won't have
reason,
any
any other
statements.
meetings, any other conflicts? The 5th,
Anyway, instead of the 19th, we could do it on Tuesday? Oh, it'd be late for the.
Yeah, we don't get out of here
Yeah.
till 11.
I could do the 5th, but the 19th, for
Okay.
reasons already
The
stated.
19th is no.
So it's the 5th or the 26th as far as Mondays is what we're looking at, right?
right, right.
I can make whatever day except for that week of the 12th and the 16th, I can make whatever works,
Okay.
whatever works for everybody else. I'll make it work.
I checked the 2 after.
Okay, are you good, Jim, on both of those, the 5th and the 26th?
I'm good on the 26th, I'm not sure about the 5th.
26th, you okay?
It's not, I may be out of town until the 26th. I just have a question, is a monthly meeting required?
Oh, yeah,